I would like to share with you, after around 20 years, now Turkish Maritime Pilot Association is a member of IMPA again. Now we have another guest, Mr. Dangerous Leathers, Captain Ari Palmer from Netherlands. He is also representing EMPA, and he's going to have 2 presentations for us. Thank you for joining.
Thank you very much for having me. Yeah, thanks. I know some Turkish, so I'll start with merhaba. And that's the only Turkish I know, so the rest of my talk will be in English. First of all, I would like to thank Tumpa for inviting EMPA to be present here today. Unfortunately, they couldn't make it, but EMPA sincerely shows its gratitude and wishes you good luck with the perfect conference you've shown us so far. Thank you for that on behalf of EMPA. EMPA asked me to do a talk with a little bit about how to become a pilot, how to report things, and of course I also sneaked in some ladder things, because I do a little bit about ladders, as you know. EMPA started last year. They made an app, EMPA Safe app, and I would like to show you a video about that, and then we'll talk about that a little bit later. Press. It should have sound, but that's okay. Because EMPA noticed that not many pilots are reporting incidents or dangerous ladders to the authorities for various reasons. For myself, I don't report a lot to the authorities. First of all, hardly get any feedback from the authorities. And second of all, as being a captain, and Port State came on board, in my captain days when Port State came, there was never a nice party, there was always something. So you also feel for the captain. Now EMPA has, together with Amura, which is a web designer from the Canary Islands, developed EMPA Safe. Myself, me and Kevin and a lot of other people also involved in the development. We started last year, and they were hoping at about 1,000 members within a year, but they reached that stage already after 6 weeks. So that's a good thing. And the good thing of the EMPA Safe app is that you can choose to report to the authorities, but you can also choose just to report to the pilot in the next port, which is important. And I use it a lot, because if the ship has forgotten to put a lifebuoy, for instance, is that something to report to the authorities? Yeah, you could do. Will Port State come on board to check if there's a lifebuoy? But it might be interesting for the pilot in the next port that he gets a notification, look, they forgot a lifebuoy. So then, going to the ship, you can check beforehand. Or a retrieval line was wrong, and they didn't fix it. Next pilot gets a notification. Besides pilot ladders, there's a lot of other things you can also report, like AIS plug, pilot plug not working, a gyro 5 degrees off. That could all be interesting things for the pilot in the next port to know beforehand, before he goes to the vessel. And when he goes to the vessel, and for example, if he says it's not working, and he asks the captain, is that working? The captain goes, how do you know? You know, you have the app. And then if the VSF has been fixed by Radio Holland or another provider, you just press the button, and then the report is gone. It goes behind the curtains in the database. EMPA checks everyone who wants to join through their association to validate their email address and credentials. If they're actually a pilot, or just some whiskey behind a computer trying to screw up a database. So for example, this one, the whole port, it was reported by the pilot of La Coruña. The vessel was going to Lysus, so the pilots in the next port get a heads up if they want. about a deficiency. I told them, well, we have hundreds of ships passing through every week. If I get a notification from every ship, I get tired of that quite a lot. So you can also choose to switch off the pop-ups, but then when I go to the vessel in my planning system and there is an EMPA notification on it, I see it in the comments in our planning system. We're implementing it into our planning system. Besides that, you can always press the button and report to the authorities. Can be anything from a radar, ladder, or also to MLC violations, which we also unfortunately see a lot. It's an important one because it is from pilots to pilots, possibly without intervention of the authorities. I said minor deficiency, but basically every deficiency is minor until an accident happens, of course. If you fall overboard and there's no lifebuoy, yeah, that could be a problem in the dark. As Simon also said about safety, it's an investment, it's not a cost. I always say if you think safety is expensive, try accidents and see what happens there. So every year we train around 21 new pilots. We do that in IJmuiden, that's the entry to the port of Amsterdam. We have 4 regions, and from all the 4 regions, new pilots come together for the first 8 weeks. And they get trained in a lot of things, how our business works, because we're a private company, how the corporations, associations work, because it's can be quite difficult if you're new to the business. We do a lot of maneuvering with them, teach them that they do the maneuvering how we want them to do it, to make the behavior of every pilot on the water predictable, that you don't have some cowboy doing strange stuff. And we do a safety training, and that's what I'm involved. We'll talk about that later. Do you think about that pilot ladder, by the way? Is that a pilot ladder? No. Good. Getting there. It's not a pilot ladder, sure. So requirements to become a pilot in the Netherlands. You must have the COC, Chief Mate, no limitations. So a lot of pilots in the Netherlands have not served as a captain, but most of them do have their master license. That's just the STCW regulations. If you make the sea time, you do your courses, your master license comes in the mail, and you can frame it and put it on the wall. You must have a bachelor degree or attend a naval academy and become an operations officer unlimited specifications. Those are the requirements. We just started with something for apprentices without a master degree, because you can get your main no limitations going to a naval university, providing a bachelor degree, or to a lower maritime school, which gives you the same COC basically. But we want to have a certain starting level. So we started doing that. We have about 12 now. This is in Dutch. Sorry for that. There are different schools. Some enter school with a bachelor degree and some don't. So what we do, we call it a pre-master. And if they want to apply to this pre-master, first they get the intake. Then they get a maneuvering test to see if they have some natural skills in them. So if they don't, yeah, then we just ask them to say a straight line without giving a course, just with start and go backwards a bit and turn and all the leading lights. It's very simple, just to see if they have some skills regarding that. And they also get an assessment, psychological test, IQ test, and they get a final talk with the chairman of the region they're going to. Once that is all done and they've passed that, they can do a pre-master. They have to do that while they're on board of their own ship, whether they're sailing as a mate or chief mate or captain. Pre-master. When they finish the pre-master, they get a diploma. Diploma, you can't do anything with it. It only gives you access to the master education to become a maritime pilot in the Netherlands. In total, our education takes 14 months, and gives you the official degree, Master in Maritime Piloting. So it's an official master study. Normally that takes at least 2 years to do it. We do it in 14 months, so that's quite intensive for the guys. A lot of them are complaining, and I said, well, you have to do some trips and learn some more, and that's basically it. They all look like me, but it's more than that. So the first 8 weeks, they go to America, and at the final days, that's where me and my colleague come around the corner to teach them about safety. We have a day in classroom, we teach them about all the types of vessels we have. I forgot to put in the catamaran. This is an older one. That's for sailor technology, should you be interested. This is the newest one, low emission, less fuel consumption, like ready for the future, big engine room. So when there come different engines available, we can put in a bigger engine, if that's possible, without destroying the entire design. And then my recommendation is to talk about the behavior of tankers, what to do and what not to do, like just simple keep your phone in your pocket, don't smoke, stuff like that, and we teach them something about the wonderful world of ladder climbing. Don't know if you see this video. These people obviously did not receive any training whatsoever in safety. It's somewhere far away from the Netherlands, but it explains quite well why you should receive some training in climbing ladders. The guy survived, by the way, otherwise I wouldn't have put the video online. He's doing everything wrong in climbing a ladder that is possible. He's hanging, and then there he goes. So you see there a pilot boat that is not a pilot boat, a crew that is not fit for the job, a guy who is not used to climbing nor received any training, and off they go. That would make a nice fishing boat for the weekend, but not a pilot boat. But maybe it's very cheap. Anyway, he made it live, otherwise I wouldn't have put the video online. I think it's somewhere in India, Bangladesh. Oh, Chittagong. Okay. Chittagong. Beautiful summer. These people, this is during the crew change, they're using a tugboat. Tugboats are good for towing, and pilot boats are good for putting pilots on board of ships. Don't mess that around, because when something goes wrong, a tugboat can't maneuver away very fast. And this is how people climb who didn't have any training. So we teach our guys to prevent that. Yeah, it's Indonesian, but my Indonesian is at the same level as my Turkish language. So. That's how they do it. Why wear a life jacket? I can swim. A lot of bags on his back. Retrieval line is also wrong, but that's the least of my concerns in this one. You see this boat, this heavy boat, he can't maneuver away, he stays under the ladder. And I think they can choose from either dropping that to deck or getting crushed. And there's some more mistakes on the pilot ladder as well, but that will be in another presentation. Filipino safety shoes. So to prevent that, we teach our guys some standards of ladder climbing. Simple, 3 points of support, start with the same side, climb with your legs, not with your arms, all stuff like that. We do it in the classroom, together with a colleague, and we tell a little bit about chemicals and pilot ladders and stuff like that. And they said, yeah, we've been rigging pilot ladders. I said, yeah, over 50% of the ladders not okay, so do pay attention to the training. I showed them all the articles, I sent them through the mail before. I did try to print them out one time, but then I was in the school newspaper, getting it all together, so I now just send them the PDFs about the wonderful world of pilot ladders. We talk a bit about the chemicals. My predecessor made it into a chemistry class, but we just use common sense, because we explain if there's dangerous cargo, there will be, the folder will be there about what the cargo is and the dangers about it. People who sail on tankers know that better than me, but it's all just common sense. Follow the guy leading you to the bridge. Don't walk over the deck because there might be cargo residue. You never know. Keep your phone in your pocket. All simple, common sense. Then we do 2 days on-the-job training. They go to rely on Utrecht 1 day for helicopter training. UN helicopter training. And 1 day on board of our training vessel, where we have installed a pilot ladder. Can this take 5 tons? No, of course not, it's aluminium. But we make an official risk assessment, and we have a rescue boat standby, and we're all standing around them. So for us, it's safe for them to train. We don't need to use a 6-meter ladder, because the most important thing about getting off and on a pilot ladder is this part, basically. That's the most important part. We also guide them around one of the new pilot launches. This was brand new in the day. They save weight by not using paint. That also is another 100 kilos, and it's also better for maintenance. This boat is so constructed that if you want to change the engines, you can screw off the top and then replace the engine. So walk around through the bridge. We have a device in our life jacket that sends a radar signal when we fall overboard so they can find us, and have an automatic tracking light, infrared, finding the guy who fell overboard. It's all brand new, and for us it works perfectly. This is how we train. We go out to sea if the weather is good. We put the launch alongside the training vessel, and we teach them how to climb pilot ladders. And they can try 10, 20, 30 times. My training back in the day was that our senior pilot told me, I go first, whatever you do, don't let go. And it was the first time in my life I climbed the ladder. Now we train them. We also show a video because everyone says if you fall overboard, you'll get sucked on. No, you won't. Because the propeller is way underwater, the vessel is proceeding at a slow speed, so the suction towards the prop is very low. Except when it's fully in ballast and you see the meat grinder coming out of the water, no pilot would like to be in that area. But we just show them what happens. He floats, Susie, we call her Susie, she floats. So then we show them how they get recovered, and after that we do it ourselves. We had our ladder tested because it had an age of over 30 months, and then someone from the office called me. He said you only use it once a year. Why do you have to have it tested? It's good to go. And then I'm like, has to be tested, and then the new regulations just chuck it away. So in spite of this ladder, our ladder was tested, and the guys before they start climbing, they have to install it themselves. And there's always one smart guy saying, "Hey, the ladder is too old," and then we can show the test certificate. In real life, I've never seen a test certificate. Just replace it because it's much easier. This is where you see how our pilots, the newbies, go overboard. Water temperature is like 6-7 degrees. That's the rescue swimmer, just in case. And we have the boat where I'm filming from as a standby boat. So when all goes wrong, it's an evaluated risk that we take with the guys. 2 minutes to get them out of the water. Every time. 2 minutes maximum. I was in New Zealand and very proudly told that to the Australian pilots. If a guy falls overboard, 2 minutes, we have him back. And then the Aussie said, "Yeah, that's too long, mate." I said, "Why is that?" They said, "The crocs or the sharks will happen before that." Yeah, they have a lot of animals there will try to eat you. You're on the menu over there if you fall in the water. So 2 minutes. We usually do that now with the already existing pilots. We do the same training. Because a guy fell overboard, and he said exactly the same thing happened as you have told us during the training. So it works. Training works. We get them out horizontally. We have the 3 men pilot launch crew. One is driving the boat, one is guiding, and one is operating. You'll see in a moment the rack on the back. Because once you have it alongside, in Portugal an accident happened, I think was 2018, where a pilot fell overboard and they couldn't retrieve him. Eventually he banged his head to the pilot launch several times and he sadly passed away. This is wreck reuse. Someone on the internet said, yeah, but what with 4 meter swell, then you might get hit by the wreck. I said, well, with 4 meter swell, pilot is suspended. Because at a certain moment it all stops. You can get on and off the boat, but if you fall in and you cannot be recovered anymore, that's when it all stops. And then the ships will have to wait. So no commercial pressure on that one. So that's the wreck that we use. In the first training, we found out that the wreck was a bit too short. So we evaluated that, and on all our ships, we have 16 in total, we extended the wreck just to make it more safe. Finally, this is a video. I make a video every year of the training that we do. It has some music with it. And EMPA also fully agrees with the statement of EMPA about competition. The EU says if you have competition, the quality will increase. If we have competition, we will not have 16 pilot boats anymore. That's the first thing you do. Cut costs. So then we might from Chittagong buy this little outboard engine because you can buy it for 1,000. These cost about 5 million, but that's cheaper. And cheap is always good. And then it will be first after profit. And that's not what we want. So this is one of the older ones, has the same wreck. And the pilot launch crews, they train all the time. They get re-evaluated every 2 years. And if they don't take the training, they'll lose their rank and the salary that comes with the rank temporarily. So there's quite a bit of pressure on them to do it right. And they're proud of their job, proud of their boats. And that's what we all try to bring to their apprentices. In the morning, tomorrow morning when you wake up and you look in the mirror, you will stare at the person who is responsible for your safety. That's yourself. So far my talk on behalf of EMPA, thank you very much for your attention on this one. Thank you. So far for EMPA, so I have to change my outfit. The rest is on my own. There was a microphone. The rest is on my own behalf. It's called pilot transfer arrangements. What can possibly go wrong? First, always do an introduction, and I say, just in case you have never heard of me, then today will be the first time. I started piloting in 2008. Had an accident in 2018 where I crushed my ankle between a pilot launch and a ship. Luckily it went all okay. I have been in the board for 8 years, and after 8 years it's also nice to not be in the board anymore. Some other guy can do it now. They're eager, they're young, they just started, so that's good. I do some work for both EMPA and INPA in technical and training. I write stuff, as you know, and I'm quite active on social media as well. And I like the quote, if you're not part of the solution, you're either the summit or the gas. I write a lot of stuff for all kinds of platforms. I give advice. Sometimes my colleagues are sick and tired of me there, yes, with his letters again, yes, there I am with my letters again. And I will keep doing that until every last letter in the world is correct. And then I can go fishing again. I'm a single dad. This is what I do as a hobby, ancient fishery. I collect wood for myself, because I'm Dutch and cheap wood is always good. And I have a dog. And back in 2019 I was at Maersk in Copenhagen. I talked about securing pilot lines at intermediate lengths, and as a reward for that, they gave me the silver shekel award, which I thought was, they thought it was very funny, and I said, it's a good shekel. So it all started in 2012. It started on Twitter, but not everybody called Twitter. And now I think at the moment Twitter or X is officially the garbage bin of society, because every lunatic with an internet connection is on that. So we took it to Facebook, closed page, 5,800 members at the moment, and we post ladder stuff. Basically all ladder stuff. Every once in a while, a guy pops up on the page trying to sell t-shirts, and we say, should there be merchandise, we would be the only ones to sell it, and not you. Find your own page, and we kick them out. Last year, for the first time since 2012, we all met in person in Valencia. It was really good to see each other in real time instead of via screens. So today we're going to talk a bit about awareness, regulations, recent developments, new rules, new posters. I'm going to bore you with that as well. And also, I'll show you what you get when you have a low quality ladder. So we all know there are 3 types of transfer arrangements. Single pilot ladder. Absolutely smashing is a good one, in it. Combination. You have to be a ballerina to get there. And a fully compliant trapdoor system, banned since 1979, but still around. So these are the ones we see in front of us. If I see one of those, I just politely say, no, thanks. Turn around, fix it, and come back in 10 minutes. So, there are a lot of regulations on pilot ladders. Over the time, since 2012, people have noticed that things could be improved, so they make more rules. That's always the answer. When things go wrong, let's make more rules, more paperwork. So we ended up with 11 different publications on pilot ladders. But even most pilots don't understand, let alone the poor junior officer on board of a ship. Which route to follow? Pilot ladder poster, also some errors in it. I wrote an article about that, Simon, about 6 years ago, I guess, identifying some. And SOLAS is mandatory, that's international law. IMO and ISO are not recognized by all flag states as being law. It's just seen as a recommendation and not something that can be enforced. So there had to be change, and so we did. We made new regulations. Keep it simple. We have the SOLAS, which is a page and a half, basically converting to the new IMO resolution, which doesn't have a number yet, or I don't know it yet. It's called performance standards. And by referring to the performance standards in the main text of the new SOLAS regulation, performance standards will also be mandatory. It will be law. No more loopholes. There will be a maximum lifespan of a ladder. We first said pilot ladder 2 years. But then some manufacturers said, then we cannot have stock anymore. Because a lot of ships want pilot ladder like 3, 6, or 9 meters. So then we all agreed, okay, the maximum lifespan will be 3 years. 1 year in stock maximum, and 2 years in use. And the only date we can verify is the production date. Because that's on the certificate and that's on the tag, production date. So 3 years start counting from the moment the ladder is taken off the production phase. From that moment on, the clock starts ticking. Because testing costs more than a new pilot ladder. Suppose a vessel comes into port, container vessel, turnaround time 8 hours, ladders have to be taken off, taken to a test facility, tested, re-certified, go back to the ship. If one fails the test, has to come a new ladder. So that's a logistic nightmare. And I asked an appraisal at a manufacturer a while ago for a 14-meter ladder, 43 steps, that cost $960 US ex VAT. Get it then tested and back costs more. And then you still have an old ladder. So it will be treated as consumables. Just like batteries in eBay, when we were made, there was a sticker on it, expiry date. The moment the expiry date was there, you didn't say, but they still could. No, check the batteries out, could do one thing, just a consumable. So if you buy, we all know that a ladder will never make 3 years. If you buy a new ladder every year, it costs you €1.50 per day, basically. That's all. Shackles, no more. I'll tell you a little bit about that later, why shackles are not allowed anymore. Repair steps, not anymore. If a step is broken, because a pilot load banged it, something also happened to the side rope and the internal structure of the fibers. If it's broken, throw it out, recycle it, make a table of it, and get a new one. It's almost fully recyclable pilot ladder, it's all natural material. No more grandfather. The grandfather clause was the most important rule, in my opinion, in the new text. In 2012, it was stated that ships that were built before 2012 do not have to comply with the new regulations. Ship owners remember. Sometimes I board a ship and I said this is a trap door system. No, yes, but we have grandfather clause. And then I always say, so that means I'm not the first one telling you. And from that moment on, I just said, no, I'm not going to do it anymore. They have to change it. The maximum diameter of stanchions. In the old poster and in the old regulation, it was only said that the minimum diameter of a stanchion was to be 32 millimeters. There was no maximum, because everybody assumed that nobody would be so stupid to make stanchions this thick. Yes, they are. Because if you give people options, eventually they will choose the wrong option, and that will endanger life. It also has to be implemented in the safety management system of the ship, if not already. The 91.5, that means where the strong points must be, where the ladder has to be secured. In the old rules, that was in chapter 7 of the 1045, by the ladder winch reel, that was described 91.5. Why is that? When you reach the top of the ladder, and suppose it's secured here, and you grab past the securing, you go back down. Happened to a colleague of mine, he fell down 4 meters, and instead of 26 bones in his ankle, he had 46. Took him a year to get back on his feet. The only thing that saved them was that he's wearing safety shoes with a high sole. That keeps it in place so that the surgeon could repair his ankle. He was out of business for over a year. And if not, then as close as possible to the code. That's new regulation. That's easy fix, eh? Just torch it off, put it in a new spot. The most things are easy fixes. For ships where the entry point is more than 9 meters, they will have compulsory the pilot mark. I'll show that in a moment. It will be mandatory. So this is basically the article that I wrote. And then Troy Evans from New Zealand, he's no longer with us unfortunately, made this drawing. We said, yeah, we have to put that in the new poster. It became another drawing, but it's the same, basically the same. This one, we all know it. I think we can chuck it in the bin after June when the new one gets approved. This is the new one, and the old one next to each other. A very good feature in the new poster is a QR code on the top. This is basically not made for us, it's made for ship crews. By looking at the QR code, you can very easily enter separate panels that didn't fit in the poster, because then it would be, couldn't see it anymore, and to the regulations. And you see there's been some changes in the poster. We'll take you through, you can't go anywhere, so I'll take you through the panels now. There's a lot of changes. For example, this one, I wanted this on the front page. I said, that's important, we need that. And then a colleague said, why? This one will never be complete. There's always another no. And then I was like, oh yeah, stick it behind the QR code. Good enough, because they can look it up. Quite a few of these ones, 3 panels for a winch. We didn't think that was necessary, so we also changed that in the new poster. And it's also said here, pilot transfer arrangements for trap doors and side doors can be viewed by the QR code. Because if you want to fit it all in, you can't see it anymore. There's more than 25 changes in the poster. The devil is always in the details. We added, for example, the most common non-compliance is the retrieval line. So we added in the poster, because then maybe that will help. A couple of years ago, together with Whitney's, we made the retrieval line poster. We thought now we have the problem solved. No, we didn't. Put it here. Someone said, yeah, but then every ship will bring a retrieval line. Yeah, so it's not mandatory, but at least if they want it, they'll do it. Some other change, for example, in the old poster, the man ropes were rigged to the top of the stanchion, which is against regulation. So, just details. Guide them through over deck. Just simple changes. You have this. Pilot ladder shall only be secured at intermediate lengths by a device designed by the manufacturer or a rolling list. No other method is accepted. The device is not there yet. I know one of the manufacturers is working on a device. I've seen prototypes, and he wanted to show it. I said that if you produce it now, it will be imitated by someone in China before you even have it in production. Basically, it's a securing mechanism that when it's not ready, you have two stanchions and they're crossed. That means not ready for use. When it's like that, it's ready for use. Easy. And we try to make it as good that even a monkey can operate it. Because there's monkeys around, of course. If you pay peanuts, you get monkeys. So monkey must also be able to operate this device. So that's a work in progress, but meanwhile, an important one is no shackles allowed. So shackles destroy the ladder. I'll show you in a bit. In the old poster, you saw that this stanchion on the platform was the one securing, and we said, can that take 5 tons? No, it can't. So with a pneumatic pad or pigeonholes, no magnets. Magnets can take 400 kilos. That's not enough to keep the gangway in place, just for example. We added magnets here, because then the guys, because inside the door, that's the poster. And they will look and do, as we explained in the poster, we hope. So a lot of dimensions are there. That's more for ship designers. Because naval architects also make a lot of mistakes. Most common ones are stanchions. There's no stanchion, it's just a part of the railing they paint yellow and then stanchion. No, that's not a stanchion. But that's easy fixes. Also, when it comes off a pilot ladder winch reel, it has to be secured. And the pilot ladder winch reel has to be on the brake. I showed that on my socials earlier this week, where the gearbox of a winch imploded and the ladder just went down. If there's a pin holding the lock in place, then that won't happen. Easy peasy. Also, the responsible officer is mentioned in SOLAS. But what his or her tasks are, nobody knows. So we thought it would be a good idea to put some, when he looks at the poster, I'm the third officer, what are my tasks? Well, you can read some here, has to be in the ship SMS system as well. To make it as easy as possible for the deck crew in rigging the pilot ladder. To not give them options, because eventually, Murphy's Law, you will choose the wrong option and stuff will go horribly wrong. This one, mandatory, if you have. And we got this guy over here. What's he doing there? It's a 60 by 60 centimeter platform. All they try to do is try to pull you. Don't touch me when I'm on the ladder. He has to be there looking over the side. His tasks are at that moment. If I go overboard, then he shouts through the radio, man overboard. That's his task at the moment, not to start pulling you. This one is a new one, because the one with the bulwark you don't see very often. This with the gap in the railing you see most of the time. That's the most common. We were doubting to keep this one or the other one. So far so good? Everybody still awake? Yeah. If you fall asleep, I just walk you and wake you up. So here you see the difference between old and new. So more text, about the maximum diameter. I have a picture of that in a moment. So, to make it more clear, the 6 meters unobstructed ship side will be mandatory. No more loopholes except for offshore vessels smaller than 90 meters, where that would hamper the structure of the ship. But they have to provide other means of a safe approach. And unfortunately, that is again to the satisfaction of the administration. This has to be approved by the flag state. And we're in touch with every flag state. Same for this one. You see here old and new. The devil is in the details. A couple of weeks ago, you might have seen, I was climbing a ladder, magnet came loose. Fell on my helmet. If I wouldn't have worn a helmet, I wouldn't be standing here now. Appeared cheap Chinese imitation magnet. I put it on the deck. I asked them to bring the magnet to the bridge, and I put it on the bridge house, and it just take it off. Not 400 kilos, nothing, just cheap imitation, and the price was 20 euros cheaper than proper ones. So the guy making the cheap ones is making a shitload of money on jeopardizing safety for pilots. You see also here in this panel, details. We added magnets because there were no magnets here. They called me a couple of years ago to ask me, can you help us make a new post? Yeah, sure. It was on a Monday. I said it can be done Friday. I was wrong. We're 2 years down the road, and this is version number 24. And basically, everyone is working with Starlight. No more versions. Because every time you have to look into the details, and then eventually you start repeating stuff. Because you've read it so many times. Same for the rules. You've read it so many times. Basically, you should have another guy proofreading it and see what's changed, because it gets more and more difficult. So this one, don't see very much wrong. This one behind the QR code. This one I told you about. We removed some of the windshield diameter, the windshield panels. We did want the pilot ladder windshield to have a diameter of 50 centimeters to prevent actual damage when the ladder is on the winch. But unfortunately, we didn't make that. But we came to an agreement, I think it was Japan, if we keep the 12 centimeters, we will require about overrest. So that's a bit political arrangement we have to make. Despite that, some ladder manufacturers sell extension thingies to put around the winch. That's always a good advice to give to the captain. Because if I look into a case where a pilot ladder has snapped, and I see it snapped on the same spot, 2 sides, my question is always, will they come off a winch? Yeah, how do you know? Yeah, well, I know stuff. That's when actual damage gets pulled up with tremendous forces every time again, and eventually it snaps when the pilot is on it. So the left one, almost gone. The right one, we see very often the gap in the railing. But have stanchions, eh? They have stanchions. Height 1 meter 20, 70 to 80 centimeters. From each other, 32, 36 meters. That's 1.5 hour job for a welder to get it done, except on tankers, of course. What work on tankers. So this one will be behind the QR code. Another good point of the QR code is that IMPA has ownership of the QR code. So if you want to put something else behind the code, you don't have to take a lengthy way of going through the IMO. I know someone once said that dealing with the IMO is the same as watching the grass grow. And that person is also in the room today. That's a good comment. These ones behind the QR code. They're a bit different as the one I showed you before that Troy Evans made, but the idea is the same. Explain and show pictures, because a picture tells us more than 1,000 words. Also, pneumatic pad, no magnet. Sometimes when you see a trapdoor and it has to be lowered a bit, it comes down right away. That means that the winch is not secured, not on the brake, and not mechanically secured with a pin. But for the crew, this is a safe way to rig a ladder. They can all prepare it on deck. Nobody has to work gangways or stuff. Only to keep the ladder against the ship side 1.5 meters off the platform, which is a regulation. These ones you see more and more at car carriers, big container ships, even some bulkers. We didn't have that, so it was a good idea to put it in. Because we have now the most common ways of rigging and pilot transfer arrangements are in the poster behind the code, but that's fine. This is the one. Lamppost extensions was a vessel from Wallenius, so I contacted the CEO from Wallenius, and he said, yeah, on a maiden trip, you're going to report it to Port Faithful 6 times. I said, you have to change it. He said, yeah, but I'm not paying. I said, I don't care. Just get it changed. So we wanted to hire a naval architect. That would have cost him a couple of thousands. So we made a small drawing how to get it right. Also, the distance from here was more than 80 centimeters. So if you're not a 2-meter guy, it's hard to grab a very thick stanchion. Dangerous. So we ended up with a solution of welding proper stanchions on top of the older one. No complaints since. I asked several pilots who will board the vessel, what do you think about it? Yeah, it's good like that. And it's cheaper to do it that way, and that's important for a ship owner, than just hire a naval architect, and they want to make money, of course, so the families to provide for, so they send you a big invoice to weld 2 pipes. Someone pointed out to me, but what's this pin? I said, I don't know, but it has to go somewhere to secure something. So I also pointed out that the platform must be secured at all times. Because this is all a loose platform, and if it comes over the side, you'll need that pipe. This one, I reported to Church Maritime. When you see a platform, always take a peek under the platform. Why? How is this ladder secured? It's not. Only thing holding it, steel plate. Design flaw. But if you don't peek under the platform, you don't know. This one I reported many times. They installed these plates and to put the pilot ladder. But when the ship's rolling, the pylons can get stuck under the plate. So it still comes out with this device, but there's a remark. When the weight height is more than 50 centimeters, no pilot for you. They don't like it, and we said, yeah, change it then. Because in the North Sea it's almost always more than 50 centimeters. Who cares? Yeah, we do. Get it sorted. Certificates, something else to be very wary of. A certificate only proves that the guy has printed. Nothing more. I see a lot of certificates with the name of Pravin Wadekar. I asked on the internet, who are you? Please come forward. He's non-existing. He's an invisible friend, like little children have. I had to look quite a while to this ladder to determine that the certificate was fake. That means that scammers are getting more and more ingenious in making a buck. This one is called, it says Garavani Shaloit. I'm quite sure that Garavani Shaloit is capable of writing their own name. They won't get that one wrong. And then it says embarkation ladder. It's not embarkation ladder, pilot ladder. And it says ISO 799. So DMV-GL stopped existing in 2021. Date of the certificate 2022. It's now called DMV. So there are 3, 4, or maybe even more telltales to see if the certificate is fake. So some people say send a certificate, but it can be difficult to check. If you have working in the office, you have to check 60 certificates a day. Can't be done. This was sent to me by the Good Brother company from Qingdao in China. They said they're faking our ladders, faking Chinese ladders. And this is another one with another date with the same name. All these fakes come from India and they use the same name. This one is a fake test certificate. The ladder certificate was okay, but the test certificate was fake. Probably just paid some money. The certificate came via email. This is from a pilot ladder. What's the brand? I'm not sure. I think it's from Singapore, but that's okay. A pilot ladder certificate means nothing. It's like the butcher telling you yourself the best meat in town, or the baker telling you where's the best bread. That's another thing that will be gone in new regulations, self-certification. It's just up to the imagination of the person holding the printer. And you can see this one has a better imagination than this one. It doesn't mean a thing. The original type approval certificate, that tells us something. I was approached by a guy in India. Do you need stuff for ships? I said, well, as you might know, I have a professional interest in pilot labs. Do you do pilot labs? Yes, we do. But I also want a certificate. And then he said, any person will provide a certificate. But I kept nagging about it to Mr. Dihal or something. And eventually he said, okay, yeah, we also provide a certificate. And I said, okay, thank you. That's all I needed to know. Ship ladders coming off beach ships. They just make a certificate and sell it again. So outside there's a pilot ladder from Delmar Safety. They also have an office in Turkey. This is not Delmar, by the way. But you see, with some of the metal plates, they get corroded, and you can't read them anymore. So I talked to them about that with Delmar in Rotterdam, and they changed their plates to plastic ones. Sometimes it's very easy. Plastic can't rust. It's waterproof, so even after 2 years, you can still read what's important, the dates and the numbers on the tag. What do you think of this one, for example? Good, bad, not so bad. Retrieval line's okay, but that's basically the only thing that's good. Bottom rubber step, missing. So probably got banged by the pilot launch, and then the crew cut it off. Eventually you are out of ladder if you do that every time. So that's, if you make change to a ladder, it becomes, you can't use it anymore. They did have service chart, but this might have happened the week after. This one we call pilot launch killers. 6 meters. They have to do it in the new rules, but they also get some time to do it. So maybe you've seen this slide before. Over 50% of the pilot ladders I see in front of me are not correct. They need rectification or replacement. You can have all sorts of reasons. You can't blame a captain for having a fake ladder on board, because they order a ladder in good faith at the purchasing department, and then basically it gets scammed. The ladder pops up on the pallet, certificate, all good, and then they bump into me and I start complaining. IMPA safety comes with 80%, I come with 50%. How is that possible? I think because pilots are a part of the problem. If I see a shit ladder, excuse my French, in front of me, that means that the pilot before me didn't care. Only thing that I can do is make sure that my ladder is safe, and also for the pilot who comes after me. Don't be the pilot before you. Get it sorted for the next pilot. These are the most common flaws we see in pilot ladders. This is some law. If I were to have 20 slides with this, we do have people making slides like that, and they start reading the slides. Basically, the meaning is all ships shall have a pilot transfer arrangement when a pilot has to go on board. That's also in the new regulations. No loopholes. Every ship, if you want a pilot, get a pilot ladder. I'm quite sure the super yachts will really love that, because they have to make the correct pilot transfer arrangement. And this 2.1 is the most important one now at the moment. Safe access. If the steps are broken or something is wrong, it's not safe. And if it's non-compliant, it's not safe. Don't use it. Easy peasy. Some examples here. Did you check the pilot ladder outside? The side roads. It felt a bit stinky. That means it's Manila. Manila has this color. This is different brand, but that doesn't matter. And this is with whippings. These are still okay, but they require a lot of maintenance. And with the current safe manual board and the port visits and fatigue and whatnot, there's no time to do whippings again. Because it has to be done with three-ply barlin. They just don't have the time or the resources or knowledge to do that. Because knowledge on board is also a race to the bottom. This one is sold on internet. It's imitation from Denmark. Is it the correct pilot level? No 4 other steps. You must have 4 other steps. In the present regulations, in IMO, it's stated that the bottom 4 steps may be of rubber. That gives options. The new rules shall be of rubber. No options, except for the plastic line ladders. Peter always makes those plastic line ladders. I hate them, but in the States you use them all the time because of the lightweight. If you step on them, you go all over the place. But okay. Here's another one with painted steps. Also the new rules. Everywhere where in the old rules is mentioned should, is basically the new rules replaced by shall. So should, these options, shall, that's the direct order. And this one is just from the ISO where they explain how to make ladders. You see on both on this ladder and not on that one, you see the ropes are coming out at the bottom, that's okay. And on this one, they go back up. So those are the 2 options you can have. They either go back up and splice at the top by the manufacturer, or they end here with 2 clamps. Those are the 2 options. So both are allowed and safe. Nothing wrong with that. Some people say, yeah, but it goes back up. Yeah, that's allowed. That's good. That's as per regulations. More in detail. Also, when you buy a box of Lego, there's also a manual how to put the blocks together. It's the same. All sorts of nice numbers. I won't bother you with that. This is to show you the difference between Manila and sea salt. Manila is water resistant, made from albaca. You can forget that right away. The rope is stingy. You can also smell the difference between Manila and sea salt. You can smell, I came in and I walked within 2 meters of the ladder and I smelled it and it smells like Manila. Should you smell every ladder? No, but you know. When you see the diameter of the ropes, 20 or 22 centimeters as breaking strength. So that means 26 or 30 tons. So together it must be 4,800 kilos, 2 side ropes. It means a specs. If you look at sea salt, if you go like 22, doesn't mean the specs. So that's also a reason not to use sea salt. I was approached by, I have contact with a lot of leather manufacturers. I was also approached by one from China. They asked me, can you help me make a better product? I said, yeah, send kits. And I'll put them later. She goes, so what shall we do? I said, well, basically, to be honest, I don't know where to start. But they didn't use Manila, they used sea salt. I said, why use sea salt? Yeah, it's cheaper. There you go. Handling safety. Sea salt is made from agave, and in Mexico they make tequila from agave, so they should stick to that. We started testing ladders with the University of Southampton a couple of years ago, and the process was started in New Zealand. When we went to Troy, he was no longer with us. He tested pilot ladders in his barn. So I spent 30 hours on the plane to get there and went straight to Troy's barn, and then my former wife said, you crazy? I said, yeah, no. We have to look at ladders. So she still had them for all different manufacturers. Is it scientific? No, of course not. It's worthwhile. Can it be reproduced? No, because it's in Troy's barn. So they took it to the University of Southampton and tested several ways of securing pilot ladders. They used shackles. the advantage of his shackle is very easy and quick. Yeah, every idiot can put the shackle in place. We try the cow hitch with a strop. The strops are certified. That will be a good solution. Slip. The only way it is at the moment good to secure a pilot ladder is with the rolling hitch. The problem in the regulations is that all security materials shall be thrown as side roads. If you go back a few slides to Manila, so the holding power of a securing rope must be 4,800 kilos. Well, going to the table 4,800. Then we need a securing rope with a strength, with a diameter of 28 millimeters. Try to make a rolling hitch with that. So now several manufacturers are testing and producing thinner ropes. If you look, for example, at tiger rope, the black and yellow, string is good, doesn't slip. Can use that. No shoelace. That's what also have shoelace method. They will break anyway. So the only thing is that the rolling hitch issue is that the university said that it's a technically difficult knot. I always say let's not start about our lines then. We all went to Maritime Academy, we all know our knots. If you can't tie knots, tie lots. So this is, you can buy good ladder and shit ladder. If you look at the side ropes of this ladder, the column, you can't feel it, but it feels very smooth. Compare it with the Del Mar one outside. This is Cesar. These clamps, low quality, they're too thin and too cheap to hold the side ropes in place. Sometimes you can even move them up and down with your hand. And we also put it to the test. I like testing stuff, and then we see what happens. As he goes, brand new ladder, straight from the manufacturer. It came up at 400 kilos. Class approved. How come? If we are confronted with a ladder like that, that means that the entire chain from production to legislation to classification and enforcement has failed, resulting in me looking 3 o'clock in the morning at a faulty pilot ladder. Repair steps, as I said, will be illegal in the new regulations, and I think that's very good. They didn't attempt themselves here. Just know a few screws keeping my life together. The pilot before me, he didn't matter. He thought it was okay. So numbers, if you see the impact safety campaign that will start next week, so report all the good stuff this week, the 16th, sorry, day after tomorrow. It doesn't change a lot. So we hope that the new rules will also bring some improvement in it. This is what gets reported in the entire Europe. 91 ladders got reported in the entire Europe last year. That's not a lot. I'm also guilty of that. So this is real situation. I have my book. I write down every pilot ladder I see in front of me. Non-compliant tripping line, non-compliant tripping line, stanchions, no ID tag, securing ropes too thin, and the winch not mechanically secured. So I write down with every ladder I see what's wrong with it. And you see there's a lot of non-compliance. This one, non-compliant there. Ship designer. Pilot ladder has to be at the mid-half length of the ship. So some ships will have a challenge to get that accomplished. Because the launch can get under, how do you call it? Under the stern. That's how we lost a guy a couple of years ago with the Wilson ship. Couldn't get the pilot on. We went to the stern, we got sucked under, and the guy standing in the side got crushed. So if you can't get the pilot on board at the correct boarding point, then you can't board. That's the way. And the retrieve line is also wrong on that one, but that's okay. This is the one we had where a Dutch pilot launch tipped over in December 3 guys in the water. Funny thing, in the Rotterdam planning system, it was mentioned helicopter only. But we couldn't see in the Rotterdam planning system. So they went with a pilot launch, with a small launch. So pilots are also part of the problem. Now it's changing our planning system that we get all the messages about that. This one, pilot from Panama, he fell overboard and got hit by the propeller of the pilot launch. Without helmet, he would be that pilot. That's the reason why our pilot launches have buckets and no props. We have Hamilton jets, no moving parts, just water being pushed through. Yeah, and just a few examples that I see in my day-to-day life. This one, homemade. I shouted to tech, strand is broken. Yeah, but it's okay. Okay, did you test it? Or are you too lazy to get a new one? But if I send it to the anchorage and the tugboat has to bring a new pilot ladder, that will cost thousands and thousands of euros. Is that my problem? No. You have to keep the problems where they are. The owner of the problem is the ship. The moment I step on the ladder, it becomes my problem. Keep the problems where they are. Some more examples. No one tested it. It's an old and beaten up ladder. You see the side ropes are all grey and deteriorated. That's a telltale, also for Manila, that it should have been replaced. Easy peasy. Some more examples, that the other one we saw before. Let's hope that the new rules will eradicate this ludicrousy. And an old trapdoor system. They've made an A-frame, but you see still a beam is in the way. It has to be fixed. If they don't get a pilot. See this one before, it's a non-pilot ladder. I had this ship last year. I turned it around and sent it out. And my colleagues hated me. A lot of them even before that. The agent refused to buy a new ladder. I got on board with the catamaran, so I didn't need to use the ladder. The agent was ordered to get 2 new ladders. He refused. That means I was stuck on board in the anchorage. So I wrote an article about that and sent that to DNV. And last week I sent an email to DNV about the situation. And I got an answer. They said, yeah, we cannot reveal the contents of the report, but we have checked all the items you mentioned, and at the moment it's all good to go. I didn't expect any other answer from the class association, of course. But if you engage, then you will find out. Under this step, there was no tag, so I couldn't identify. So I asked, send me the certificates, and I got certificates from a 5-year-old ladder. I said, yeah, that's it. Go away. But later on, they had others. I never saw the correct certificates for this ladder. So they could see on the tag that the ladder was only 1 year old. Nicely varnished. It was also a boat carrier. 1 year old. So the ladders were provided by the shipyard somewhere in Korea. If you see a painted ladder with whippings like this, it's not correct. But still class proof, and class is persistent in keeping it approved. But if you contact all involved parties and explain what's wrong, they will shoot into action. Some more examples. I'll try to finish up a bit. So why should we report? This is why should we report. Might be a bit confronting. Every year, pilots die by ladders, and that is all preventable. Help each other. We are all a brotherhood worldwide. A couple of thousands of us are there, not so many. All we can do is look after each other and help each other get on board and get off the ship again. Another one. Nobody complained until they bumped into me. Notified the manufacturer and told them to stop doing it. Those tensions, which can be easily fixed, and the ladder is not secure. So I said, no, thank you, have it done. We always do this way. Yeah, I don't care. Same with this one, ladder not secure. The ship from Wagenborg later on, they contacted me. I helped them now on every Wagenborg ship. which are quite a lot. They have proper stanchions. It's just a little bit of work for them. Retrieval line also wrong, okay? Stanchions are important. The steel plate, you can lose your grip and fall back. The deck cone, as I 2 days already explained, it's good for lowering the ladder, but not for securing. Because a step can take 800 kilos, side ropes can take 5 tons combined. Railing, no railings, secure the deck. Cruise ships, notorious for putting ladders from the deckhead, which is very unstable if you have to climb. A lot of cruise ships pass the strait as well. It's always like this. But it won't be in the new rules. They have to comply. They have to. The other is difficult. I don't care. Like Ryanair, I don't care. This is the poster I mentioned before. We thought problem would be solved, and this is what happens if you have a retrieval line rigged the wrong way. If you're on that ladder, you really have a super bad day. Lucky pilot that there was nobody on the ladder. That's what happens when the retrieval line is rigged wrong. Because the pilot launch crew looks forward and don't look backward to keep an eye on the ladder. Easy peasy, yeah? Kept the line off. Combinations. If there's a gap for a stanchion, they must put in a stanchion. But since we are always enemies, in some pilot stations, they order the crew to remove that stanchion. Sometimes they remove the other stanchion. That's a lot less comfortable, isn't it? Basically, it's the same. If there's place for a stanchion, put it in. Besides that, this ladder is secured too low, must be 1.5 meters to prevent your hands from getting entangled with the magnet thingies. But it can be done. Some vessels do a good job. Make it, you can argue about the retrieval line and need to go 10 centimeters higher, but okay. It can all be done, it's not really difficult. Trapdoors, banned in 1979 by 426. They were invented in 1976 and already in 1979 banned. Suppose a vessel would show up now with a pilot hoist. They were banned in 2012. Would that be acceptable? No, but we still accept this stuff. In England, one came and they thought, okay, yeah, it's non-compliant, but then we put a harness and the pilot can wear a harness. Well, you wrote a very good statement about safety harnesses, and every once in a while you have to explain again, it's just dangerous. And it went terribly wrong in 2019 with Sherwood. 8 months later in the same district, another pilot fell to the ground due to faulty stanchions. All burst ships are now modified. This is the one Troy made, was also in the other presentation. But you saw the one we have in the new pilot ladder poster. It's good that it shows all that needs to be done to get it right. And some vessels do a good job. They changed their system. This is NYK, MSC, this is NYK, that's half-half. They changed all their systems into compliant ones. They took away the beam, but the beam is also structural important. So they made a plate against the hull. That doesn't happen climbing. Doing it yourself can be dangerous. Welding aluminium is an art. It's an A-frame that came loose. It was welded in. You see the welder was just one time around. Looks good, but not safe. So the pilot was on the ladder and the whole thing came down. And he went down, he got slightly injured physically, but you don't know what it did mentally to the guy, because you think you're plunging to your death. Welding aluminium is an art. Happened to a colleague of mine, there's a guy in the Middle East, they ordered container loads full of pilot ladders from China, they buy them for 10 euros per meter, they put the tag on them, make a certificate, and sell them. Easy money for them. $10 per meter, and they sell them for $2,000 per ladder. That's good money, and he has a nice printer, and this is the result. My colleague, the ladder broke when he was here, and he managed to come down on the other side. And mentally it did something to him, because it was a near-death experience, basically. Website from my colleague, just for reference. You might have a look, it's very interesting, has a quiz, and a long explanation about the wonderful world of pilot ladders. So that ends my talk about, did I stay within 45 minutes? I did it. Neil Dennis, I would like you to come forward for a moment. Because on behalf of EMPA, we'd like to present you with a shield. To hold it like this. Good. Give it a nice place in the office. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ari, for your presentations and joining us from all the way from Netherlands. Before we are going to have a break, I would like to call Associate Professor Ms. Tutku Eker İşçioğlu for her presentation. He relates